What's up, Falcon fans? This is the recap video where we discuss on how the hell did we win this game. If you guys like this type of content, hit that like button. If you guys hate this type of content, hit that dislike button. It will hurt your boy's feelings, well, maybe just a little bit. But if you want to do a huge favor for your boy by hitting that subscribe button, it will help out the empire grow. So on that note, let's just start with the good, the bad, and the Falcons. Quick note here, my stomach is turning and I was waiting for an hour to record and it still hurts, but I'm going to push through because that's what the Falcons did tonight. Let's start with the first quarter because I thought it was pretty interesting to see in the future in a sense where Kirk Cousins in the very beginning, he was hitting all cylinders against the linebacking core for a huge gain yards down the middle with, of course, Drake London and Kyle Pitts. They were going against, 52 KJ Britt and, of course, 54 Levante David. And also Drake London kind of set the tone and touchdown where I think it was 18 or 19 or 20 or something like that against in the middle against I think a corner and also a linebacker as well. Plus it was nice to see Kirk Cousins finding the hole in the first quarter with 106 total passing yards and 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions before the second quarter ever started for the Falcons offense. So in the second quarter, the only really positive thing for the Atlanta Falcons was still the passing game where Kirk Cousins had 147 and an extra 1 touchdown to boot. So when it comes to the first half for the Atlanta Falcons, mostly for the offense side of the ball, Kirk Cousins threw for 253 total passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions at that point in time. Before the third quarter started, the Atlanta Falcons were down. The Buccaneers had 24-17, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers scored 10 points in the first quarter and scored 14 points in the second quarter. But I gotta give it credit to the Atlanta Falcons defense because in the third quarter and in the fourth quarter, they only allowed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to score 3 points in each of those quarters to rally 6. And of course, in total, they had 30, and then we had 36 in overtime. So I really have to give it up to the Atlanta Falcons defense on a bend but not break defense caliber type of style. So obviously we got to give huge shout outs to Kirk Cousins, the quarterback, who had 58 attempts, had 42 completions for 509 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception we don't care about. He did get sacked 4 times. I don't like that. But, Drake London, 12 receptions, 154 total receiving yards, and 1 touchdown to boot. But, of course, I want to give you a little side note here that this is actually Drake London's 4th career game with over 100-plus receiving yards. But guess what? 3 of them are against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's pretty cool to know. Kyle Pitts is finally being used right. 8 targets, caught 7 receptions for 88 total receiving yards, 0 touchdowns, but 32 long. Kind of set the mode very early on in the very first snap, right? Or the first drive. Of course, I can't forget about our number 1 wide receiver who wears number 1 in Darnell Mooney, where he caught 9 receptions for 105 total receiving yards and 2 amazing touchdowns. First leap in from the back, because I thought there was going to be interception at first, and then the second one where he dip, dash, cut, zoom, zip, just like the Flash would. Incredible 2 touchdown plays that I said in my preview video that I was actually kind of shocked that Darnell Mooney and Kirk Cousins really have a bond with each other, and it's just lovely to see. And of course, Ray McLeod III, who was just there when you need him the most, 6 receptions for 66 total receiving yards, no touchdowns, but don't worry, he will get his touchdowns for sure. And of course, the GOAT himself, Kadarius Hodge, 2 receptions, 64, and a touchdown, and the 45 long reception for the overtime win, walk-off on the field. Love that man. And I'm actually kind of shocked in the very beginning of the season that he didn't really get used a lot, because last year he had potential against, I think, the Vikings and the Tennessee Titan game, and I thought he was going to give more reps this season early on, but hey, look, now he's going to shine for real. Jesse Bates III, absolutely, with his 2 forced fumbles. By the way, the first one, if AJ Terrell just kind of saw it a little bit sooner, we would have capped that, but doesn't matter because he did it again. I'm trying to think of the word. If you don't succeed first, you got to try again, and that's how you do it, my boys. And, David Automata, the only sack of the game, but the very critical sack because they could have got a touchdown, and this would be completely a different scenario, but instead they got 3 points. And, of course, I can't forget about Younghoe Koo. Before this game happened, he was 100% accurate. Of course, you're going to have some off days, and unfortunately, he had an off day on prime time, but look, 5 attempts, 3 completions, but the most important one was the last one to get us to overtime, because if he didn't, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would have won this, and then we've all been disappointed, and my heart wouldn't keep not pounding or something like that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you fall, it's how you you rise up. That's right, that is our slogan. So Younghoe Koo, rise up to the occasion, and thank you so much, because you know what, look, your mindset can definitely mess up when it comes to these kickers, and believe me, we've seen it plenty of times when kickers miss the kicks and everybody's booing them and they're hearing all the hate. It's gonna be hard for them to try to get it again, be focused. But you know what, Younghoe Koo is a professional and he does not deteriorate. So great job on that department. And I can't forget that Zach Robinson, our offensive coordinator, definitely gets a pat on the back for slicing and dicing the linebacking core and the secondary core by creating packages that allowing the wide receivers for the Atlanta Falcons to get some type of wiggle room where they can do damage on the field. So now let's talk about the bad. If we look at the end of the stats for this game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you think, wow, the Falcons defense did a pretty good job in holding Baker Mayfield to 24 attempts, 19 completions for 180 total passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 1 sack to boot. Well, I think looks can be deceiving, as I say, because in the first quarter, I thought it was going to be a bloodbath for the Atlanta Falcons because they could not stop Mike Evans at all. He was wide open, hardly ever contested, and of course he caught that easy touchdown in the first drive of the game. He was targeted 4 times, caught 3 receptions for a grand total of 26 total receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Now in the second quarter, that got a little bit more tricky because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had 3 big plays. Number 13, Mike Evans got a 23-yard touchdown bomb where number 33 just I don't know. I mean, the safety didn't help him out, but you know, you can't leave Mike Evans alone. And then of course, Caden Auden, number 88, caught a 22-yarder, play action that really helped them move the chain. And then of course the running back White ran for 56 long yards, where it helped them score some points. Where we were doing pretty good. Now in total, we gave up 26 carries for 160 total rushing yards we allowed. The longest was 56, obviously, but if you subtract that, we only gave up 104 total rushing yards if we didn't give up that big play. So not bad, but still, the Atlanta Falcons gotta find ways to stop the run game, because we used to do that like 2 years ago. We're really good. Now we're not. We're averaging over 130 plus rushing yards we're giving up to the opponents, and that has to stop. But somehow it's not. We're allowing them to do this, so it has to be addressed immediately, in my personal opinion. In the first quarter, we were doing so well and not getting penalties, but in the second quarter, we got 3. And at the end of the game, we had a total of 8. And last week, we had 9. So we need to clean this up immediately, because this hurts Kirk Cousins and it hurts the defense as well, because when you're trying to stop them, or Kirk Cousins is passing the ball and then they have to bring it back, and it'd be harder for us to move the chain. Not tonight, but in some other games it probably will, because Kirk Cousins probably could easily got over 600 passing yards and maybe a couple more touchdowns as well, but I digress. There's a problem with the Atlanta Falcons running attack. Now, in total, they did a pretty good job. 18 total carries for 73 total rushing yards between Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. Robinson, the 28 long. But if you cut that out, in total, we had 45 total rushing yards. And it's not like they can't move the chain, and because they can get first down in the run game. The problem is, it's the big, long run type of run game that the Atlanta Falcons are not hitting the home runs, outside zone, where Tyler Algier is doing really good on the outside zone. But when it comes to Bijan Robinson, not so much. But he's still very skillful and he definitely has talent. But unfortunately, it's just not clicking fast enough for these guys. Just quite yet. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense were making big splashes on these big home run plays, where the Atlanta Falcons don't really give up, and they weren't tackling straight right away when it comes to the passing game, where they were allowing these Buccaneers wide receivers to go down the field with ease, just like how the Atlanta Falcons Falcons was doing against their defense. But I digress on that department as well, because one thing that really is still pissing me off, and the Atlanta Falcons keep lacking for almost 10 plus years, besides that 1 year everyone keeps mentioning about Vic Beasley, is the pass rush. The lack of pass rush is ridiculous. Now that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense hit Kirk Cousins 11 times. That's insane. And some of them, look, no offense to Logan Hall, who got 2 sacks, and Anthony Nielsen got 1 sack. I don't know these guys. And of course, Vita Vea, I know him, particularly he was drafted in the first round. He got a sack, early on. But still, that's unacceptable compared to David Otamata, who's the only Falcon that got pressure to Baker Mayfield, where that could have been a touchdown, but instead a field goal. But the idea of Baker Mayfield, being comfortable in the pocket, making these incredible throws to really help the Buccaneers score 30+ points is kind of ridiculous. Not saying he's bad or anything. It's just that this Falcons team really hurts when they don't pressure the quarterback like this, and you see the results where we barely won this game. And also, what really pissed me off that, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in the top 5 when it comes to giving up the most sacks. Baker Mayfield, before coming to this game, only took 15 sacks. So I thought the Atlanta Falcons had some opportunities to sack the quarterback, and also because some of their offensive line players were injured. So there you go. Fresh new recruits, you could easily bully them. That didn't happen in this game. And also, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all night were injury prone with their players. Hopefully they're all okay. I wish them very well, but it's just something like we just don't take full advantage of the opponent's injuries, and we just don't use it to our full advantage. And that's been like that for years. So I'm not really too frustrated, but I'm kind of am. So I'm kind of contradicting myself. But now let's talk about the Falcons. This Thursday night division rival game was tough for both teams, and I think both teams should get all the credit and love and respect they deserve, because they both fought really hard. It all depended on the coin flip, literally, and of course the Atlanta Falcons just took the opportunities by the football gods to win, because this could have easily been the opposite way, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got the coin flip and called heads, and then they scored down the field, because I think they could have, because remember, Mike Evans, before that Kirk Cousins threw that interception, and everybody thought, okay, the game's over, because I saw on the TV screen some Falcon fans were leaving. I'm sorry to call you guys out, but I said, okay, well, they're probably going to win this game, just kick the field goal, but they didn't, because in the one play drive, they had like a play action, and Mike Evans was wide open, walk in for a touchdown, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that's just how football works sometimes. But if you guys lasted this long to the very end of the episode, thank you so much for taking your own personal time and date to watch these Falcon content videos. I love making videos for you guys. So what do Falcons do? Rise up. Until the next episode, show love and peace to the world, and peace.